Oh, man.
It's time for funny Airbnb reviews.
Well, all right. I didn't do my homework exactly right.
They'll add in the sound effects later. Apparently they do that.
You don't have to go.
But it's always more fun when you do it.
So I didn't do that, actually, so don't get excited. But I did.
What's up, world? It's Once Upon A BNB, and it's your host, Annsleigh.
And this time, this was planned ahead. I get to go second. I knew ahead of time. You guys didn't try to trick me. Because Maha has something to say after this.
You just introduced me for me.
You're crazy.
That's the way to ruin a segue. Well, I actually don't know what it is, so anyways.
You're like, now I can't mess it up, and then
who are you?
Let's run it back.
First of all, who are you?
This is Ian.
And as he mentioned, I'm Maha. Miss Janet, Miss Jackson, if you're nasty, who Ian just tried to eat earlier.
No. All right. Before we were recording, I was trying to play with Janice. And
Janice? It's Janet.
That's how it obviously got off on the wrong foot early.
Right.
And I was trying to be an animal, nuzzle up on her. She thought I'd try to. Well, I mean, she does look tasty.
She gave him an inch, and he was petting her, and then he tried to, nuzzle her, and she's like, oh my God, he's trying to eat me, and, jumped off the couch, but
I got kind of
okay
Me Too'd, but...
She got Me Too'd.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
You misread all the signals she was giving you.
I committed, inadvertently. I think this is more of like a Aziz Ansari Me Too.
Yeah, which was not that bad of a Me Too of all Me Too's, but...
I'm not familiar.
Okay, this one was... Just a quick. Thanks. All right. The Me Too.
Just him shooting his shot, and then the girl not saying anything but feeling awkward about it.
Yeah, he's like, then he asked me if he wanted to make out, and then I said yes.
Oh my God!
And then
so I made out with him, but I didn't want to. But what?
Yeah, and I think she blew him too. I think that's an important detail. And she it's all said yes audibly the whole time. And so,
but just didn't want to.
Just decided she felt bad about it afterwards, and also no allegations of getting her. I think she wasn't overserved or anything like that. She wasn't saying
She just felt like she couldn't say no for some reason, but I don't know why. Because
he probably holds some type of entertainment power.
Yeah, he's fucking funny as shit.
Yeah, so that's what she felt. That's what she felt inclined to say. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's like, I would be.
That's not supposed to be Me Too. Yeah, and I feel like that's what happened with
you and Janet. Yeah, she could have said no. She jumped right off that couch. But,
Janet said no. Well, I guess Me Too segues us into Maha's story.
Ooh, ouch. Okay, it's a rape story. That's awkward. But
it is a horror-themed podcast.
Right.
And that is one of the scariest fucking things that could possibly ever happen. So, yeah.
So, my phone is listening to me, so now all I get is, Airbnb and vacation rental news on my, Google News feed.
All the co-hosts can agree that happens to us.
So I saw this article and it says Airbnb is spending millions of dollars to make nightmares go away. So apparently this has been happening for a long time, but it was just recently discovered because of this incident.
Nightmares.
That's a great story title.
I know, right? It made me click.
So clickbait worked. All right. So we got obviously rape is one of the nightmares. Is there others anything they're covering up?
The way this story came out is there's this Airbnb in New York, near Times Square, and it was so popular that the bodega across the street had the keys, and you would go pick up your keys from the bodega there. So a group of girls rented it, and this is 2015, but this is just coming to light recently. And went out for New Year's Eve.
Fuckers at Airbnb.
One of the girls, I know, right?
It up.
I mean, this team apparently does a good job, but one of the girls came back early to the Airbnb, and there's a man in there waiting for her. And he robbed her and raped her, took her phone. She was able to call her friends and call for help from an iPad, and then she ran outside and called the police. So Airbnb immediately, apparently they have this team, and they've had this for a long time, that has former CIA members and former Secret Service members and stuff that jump into action immediately when something happens like this. So they paid for all her medical treatment. They flew her mom in. She was Australian. They flew her mom in from Australia. They paid for all of their accommodations. So all the Airbnb reps went to the court case to see if Airbnb was mentioned. It wasn't mentioned. And then they apparently ended up paying her $7 million. And that's when people found out that this was a thing. But yeah, they have an entire team that's basically paid to sweep stuff like this under the rug and to throw money at people to make them shut up, basically, and not talk about it. And apparently it works, because how often do you really hear? We just heard about this, and it was from 2015.
I wonder why they didn't try to buy my guests off.
I was just going to ask you that, actually. When I was thinking about the story,
as you were talking, I was also addressing that in my mind. And I was like, you know what? Maybe it's because they were alleged drug dealers. And
that's remind the listeners.
Right, exactly. For those who don't know.
I forget the number, but episode number...
It was the episode where you were a guest before you were a host, actually.
I'm going to call it 5, but that's probably wrong. Please edit that in post. And then... So
we're so fancy. We'll just edit that in post.
I don't need, does that work?
Yeah, whatever. Go with it.
But so that's when probably my only Airbnb story that made the news, and that's when my house was robbed allegedly robbed by young bands and another accomplice. And then the two lax players, these young ladies. The lax ladies.
Oh, yes. I love that. Lax.
They let him,
too.
It's a great abbreviation. Mm-hmm. Probably the best abbreviation of sports.
All sports.
It's giving LAX, like the airport.
Mm-hmm.
But also lax.
Do people call LAX lax, I wonder? Probably.
A lot of people probably, because they just never heard it, spelled out before. Yeah. Like when someone mispronounces.
Well, nobody says like Adel for ATL. Right? I've never heard that.
Who would say that?
I don't know.
Maybe it's not your first language.
People do get confused by ATLians, though. Like when they read it, if you don't know ATLians, they're like, Atlians? What are Atlians? That's common.
Those are big fans of Outkast, the supergroup.
Very true. Very true.
Oh, wait.
Is that a segue?
Dang, were we done with this story? All right,
follow. No. Hold on.
But that was a good one, though, Ian.
Yeah.
We're going to have to run it back.
That was foreshadowing. That's
Great.
I think maybe we were done with this story.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well no, we were talking about why didn't they even pay you. Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Gosh, the reason, a little ADD here, pardon us.
Well, I'm distracted by the sexual tension between me and you.
Your freaking talk.
So that's Miss Jackson.
You're such an animal.
Janet, Miss Jackson.
I thought about pointing that foreshadowing. I guess we should just tell our listeners. One of the things we're going to talk about today is Outkast Airbnb.
Yeah.
ATLians.
Teaser.
Hint.
Teaser. But the reason I think that they, because they were, like any investigate, I guess their CIA guys were like, oh no, they're fucked. These guys are slimy and you guys are good. There's not going to be any liability. So, but I did keep up a pretty expensive policy. Really? On that house. What's the statute limit? 2 years? It's not been 2 years. I guess I have time to be like, hey, you wanna sue those fuckers?
Yeah, you should.
All right. Maha, you want to do our first lawsuit together?
I will. Oh my gosh. I've been waiting for this day forever.
Oh my god.
We're both personal injury attorneys.
Could you imagine me and Ian in trial together?
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty similar to
I couldn't imagine you all against one another.
Well, we would never do that.
Yeah, never.
Yeah.
We're on the same side. I mean, we might be forced to, but I don't think either of us would ever go defense at this point.
Yeah, that would never work with bad guys.
Totally together.
But, since we're both attorneys, we've sued, Airbnbs and like Ubers and Lyfts and stuff like that. And they always make you sign a non-disclosure agreement.
I was going to say that those girls have to sign that. And
I'm sure they did. Actually, that was in the article too. Non-disclosure and non-disparagement. For like all of
What's the difference for listeners and me?
Non-disclosure is just telling people like, oh, I settled for this much and I had a lawsuit against them and this happened. Non-disparagement is like talking shit, like disparaging them. Like they're terrible. They did bad things. So you can't even say anything negative about them.
I think people always think it's the same.
Yeah, no, they're slightly different. But yeah, it's very common in this arena, like Airbnb, Lyft, Uber, all that stuff. But
and what's sad is that there's probably so many stories you have no idea.
Because of this team. I mean, CIA, Secret Service.
It seems like the rabbit hole's, just getting started.
Definitely.
Because when you think about it...
Like they haven't uncovered mine, for example.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I think everybody's first initial to Airbnb when it got on the market was kind of like, how do you remain safe in someone else's home?
Right.
How do you protect yourself?
And that's why they have this team just to protect that image. Exactly.
And then all of a sudden it became like this oasis of rental properties and vacation homes. But we forgot that when it first happened, it was like, do I really want to live in somebody else's house?
Well, for me, I had people living in my house because I know
that was so crazy.
That's bedrooms.
That's what the dude who founded it. Like he talks about in that TED talk that got me doing Airbnb.
That's kind of what it was meant for.
Yeah, it was like he like woke up. He's like he invited some dude back to his house. Like he met at a bar. He like needed a place to crash. He's like, you can crash, my house. And then he was like, wait a second. what if he's an axe murderer? You know?
Right.
And, people used to ask me that all the time. But I don't know. 99.9% of the time it was totally fine. I wasn't freaked out at all. There was like maybe one time where maybe I like smoked too much CBD and got a little paranoid and was like, oh, I don't know about these guys. I'm going to lock my door. But it's always been fine. And it's actually a pretty cool experience because you meet people from like all over the world. And a lot of them I'm like still friends with randomly. But it is kind of weird. There's an element of trust there. And that's why Airbnb has this team, because they want to keep that element of trust. Because like, if you don't feel safe, like nobody's going to do this anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That's they got to snip all those in the butt.
Yeah.
Because the rebranding of that to me was mind blowing.
Yeah.
Because the original notion of it was very much like, what? But how they've been able to push the brand so well that people are so accepting is
now it's almost a verb, you know?
Yeah.
Like Google.
Are you Airbnb-ing or are you getting a hotel? It definitely
Sorry,
is.
Verbo.
Yeah, I know.
Which apparently
people don't really say Verboing.
Yeah,
and it's becoming like how people just call bleach Clorox. Like people are just referring to vacation rentals in general as Airbnb.
Are you going to get Airbnb?
But, you know, it makes me wonder if like Uber and Lyft and stuff have a similar team.
Oh,
yeah. A lot of shit goes down with them that I clearly can't talk about because I've signed non-disclosures and non-disparagement agreements about these settlements. But like, there's
it's just
a lot.
about those settlements. We can unearth new ones.
Yeah,
a lot of shit.
So I would pay money. Like I'd bet that they also have similar teams like that.
Especially with this trend of people not having to necessarily be trained in their job description and with no like full background check, but now you become a hotel and now you become a taxi driver.
Exactly. Well, that was actually like some of the settlements I can't talk about. I'm not going to name the company, but the way we were able to settle is they don't do background checks. They claim they do, but they don't at all.
It's a concept like, so the normal way you hold a company accountable for the actions of their employees is this concept called respondeat superior. That's a fancy way
Latin
of saying
term.
But that doesn't really apply because they're very explicit. Whether it's in Uber, like you guys are not employees, and they like go they battle over that in California recently. But same thing in Airbnb. But it's a joint venture. I think is like the legal term, and so that's still undecided in Georgia.
They're like partners.
Exactly. So that's what that's why we can probably still sue them and find out.
They're like essentially your own partner.
Right. And there's arguments to be made, which like I've made in the past, that they control enough of their employment that they, even though they're paid like independent contractors, they have rules that they follow. Like they have to.
You're an employee.
Exactly.
You control whether or not like you're docked whether or not you accept a certain number of rides. And it's the same thing for Airbnb. Like your response rate like dictates whether you're a super host and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And there's rules about like picking them up on like this side of the road, or like turning the radio on and off for them, or keeping the air on or off, or like whatever, like stuff like that. So there's, somewhat of an argument to be made with their employees.
This is so interesting. I think what's most interesting is how we've been reprogrammed for this to be the norm just after years of like media grooming.
And that's why it's probably less like they're like, you know what, we can't cover this up forever. The Once Upon A BNB crew is going to find all these people and have them on the podcast one day, and then we'll be destroyed. But they're like, you know what, we're going to be big enough beforehand. Like we'll cover it up long enough where they're still like, people aren't going to stop using Airbnb just because people got murdered and they covered it up. Like
people probably get murdered in hotels.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they do.
They just been like, they had to protect the trust. Like it's not sketchy as long as they could, and sounds like
it's like a cost benefit analysis too. Like how much money are we going to spend on this team versus how much would we lose if people found out about this? So I think they just try to rush in. Right. And like throw money at people, make them sign these agreements.
Shut the fuck up.
Because the girl that this happened to, like they couldn't reach her for comment. She refused to comment. Attorney refused to comment. Like they couldn't get the story. I don't know how they found out about it exactly.
That was my fault.
Probably from the criminal case, but I think actually they found out. What I think is from the tax filings, and they saw that $7 million was paid to somebody, and then from there they like did some investigating and found out. Because the article.
So she won't come on the podcast, but probably someone in her circle will. And
and the fact that it was such a popular Airbnb, it's just so scary to walk into somebody's waiting for you.
But my question is, there are a group of girls traveling together. Like, how did you know just one person was going to come home alone?
Right.
Like, they could have brought some like big ass dudes with guns back home or something. Like, what was he going to do if 10 people walked in and he was there by himself? So that makes me think maybe he like watched her or something.
Or like,
watched her come in.
Probably cameras and stuff.
And they still, like, the article, you know, was unsure on
it was in
how
New York,
he got
right?
the keys. Yeah.
Well, don't you usually have access to like the building controlled? You know, like, you know, when someone's coming up, like they're like buzzing, right?
I guess it depends on the building. Not all of them are like that necessarily. You've watched a lot of Sex in the City or something, but yeah, they still have questions about how he got the keys and stuff like that. And like,
I'm here.
Are you up there?
Well, and there's questions also about Airbnb's liability because they don't have necessarily a policy on how like you exchange keys and like let people in or anything like that. So, you know, that was part of the issue, but.
Damn. Well,
remember that time we brought up Outkast?
Yeah, segue.
That was less smooth of a segue, but
yeah, speaking of ATLians, we are all from Georgia.
ATL,
you know.
Wait, all right, let's recap again. I was born in Dunwoody, but at the time it wasn't a city, so I was born in Atlanta.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
I was born on Boulevard, what's now Atlanta Medical Center, but it was Georgia Baptist Medical Center.
Oh, that's where Shafi is going to be.
I know. And she's going to live right around the corner, right?
Mm-hmm. All right, and what was that?
Congrats.
Hey, Dr. Shafi.
Yeah. Where was I born? I was born in College Park, and then I moved to Cascade area near Campbellton.
That's where I live.
You live there?
Yeah, I live in Venetian Hills.
Dunwoody.
No,
you live in Venetian Hills?
Yes.
It's like that. Like towards West End.
I live on Elizabeth, right south of Avon. Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love that neighborhood.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. My brother's in Westview.
Yeah, it's just...
Was I telling y'all this on the podcast or outside of the podcast about me and my brother's addresses?
No, you told us about, your dreams.
No, this is... Oh, our addresses. Me and my brother's address is both 1659.
That's no coincidence.
Isn't that so weird? Like, completely different streets, different neighborhoods. Like, the mathematical odds of those
play it in
numbers,
Vegas.
We're going to get jackets made. 1659 gang.
1659. Just play the numbers.
Yeah.
I don't gamble, but...
Wait, did you just come back from Vegas?
Yeah. But I didn't even gamble. I'm so scary.
Not even
But this girl made so much freaking money.
Oh, really?
Right
I was pissed.
Like, coincidentally, or she knows how to gamble?
I don't even know if she knows. She just said, okay, I see red, and these are the numbers that I have. I don't know. We wasn't that cool. We all just met, like, there.
Mm-hmm.
And
so what percentage of the crew did you know beforehand?
Out of probably 12 people, I knew 2.
Oh,
okay, that's kind of on a
limb, right? And so that's how I felt, because I normally don't do that. But my homegirl was like, I promise you, everybody's cool. Like, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I'm just like, okay. I'm just going to do it because I trust her. And then the birthday boy, he's like super cool. So I'm like, sure, his friends are super cool. So I only knew them 2. And then at first, the birthday boy got into like this emotional like thing. And he was like, I'm not coming anymore.
It's my birthday.
But he was being so dramatic. Shout out to you, birthday boy. But eventually he came, and it was his best friend's birthday. And they had a birthday on the same day. And so the best friend, his name is Mike.
No wonder it's dramatic.
Shout out, his Instagram name is Julympian. And I thought that was so funny.
Julympian?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That was hilarious. So, but it was a blast simply because of the dude Mike. Shout out to Mike. He's just like super plugged in. So it was like every night it was a table, no lines, a fancy restaurant, etc. And then basically how he does it is that we all split the tab at the end of the trip. So he just runs it up because that's how he gets his points to get all the perks.
I do that to my friends all the time. I'm like, I'll put it on my card.
Yeah, put it on his card. You get the points, you know. So the whole time we're just living. And then we're like, damn,
And
the bill's gonna come in 2 weeks.
Right.
And we're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So,
you get that reminder Venmo.
All right.
So we're like just living our best freaking lives. Like, yeah, let's order another round of shots. Let's get the duck. Let's get the, it was so fun. I just remember just like being really drunk. I was drunk a lot, but I went to the day party. It was so much fun because I had like a little personal pool. And I just remember getting really drunk. By that night, I was like, I'm going out. And I went to dinner and I was just like, I'm not existing. Like, I don't even remember how I got dressed.
That's literally me every time I go to Vegas. I fell asleep in my fajitas at my cousin Mayetta's bachelorette party. Because after the day parties,
it's no way.
They have pictures of me literally face down in fajitas. I know, me either. It's day or night drinking. I can't do both anymore.
I was like,
give me day or give me
right.
I had a video where I was like, because I was determined to make like an Instagram reel. So in my video, I'm like filming, and in the background, I can hear myself talking like I'm so fucked up. I can't see anything right now.
I can't see what I'm filming.
I can't see. I can't walk. My friend had to teach me how to walk. She was like, just stride, long strides. I was like, I got you.
Oh my gosh, that is so fun.
I made pretty good footage.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun, and I was ready to go.
That's Vegas for you.
You'll have to send us this footage to add to the video.
Oh, yeah, happily. But yeah, Pax was being from Atlanta because I was ready to get the fuck home after the third day. I was like, I'm gonna go home. But I did call work, and it was like, do I gotta come to work tomorrow? And it was like, no. I was like, okay, I'm staying another night.
Nice.
I'll just fly back later. But yeah, so
you stayed at a hotel in Vegas.
We stayed at the Cosmopolitan.
Yeah, that's the thing in Vegas. I don't think it's an Airbnb town.
It's not. I don't think
I've never attempted to.
No, they do, but it's like very like regulated and licensed and stuff. But like people just stay on this. Like hotels are always so cheap in Vegas too.
Yeah, and they comp everything.
Especially right now, like you could get a room for $35 right now. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I should do
that. I'm not a big Vegas guy, but like my friends from like I remember in law school we went like after we graduated, and I think I'd never been before, and so they were they had dad's money throughout law school, and like we'd go a couple times a year and just like would show me the ropes, and then it was like you do $58 handshakes when you check in. And then that upgrades your room like always.
$50.
I
was like $58.
I was like,
is that the magic number? It's like the password. Here's $58.
Specifically, 2 20s, 1 10, and 8 1s.
Specifically,
that's the code. No, just like slap some money in his hand. But 50 is a good number because it's not like it's $100. Ooh,
I mean, it was my first time. And what I was so shocked by was that everything was inside the fucking hotel. Like,
oh yeah,
that was crazy to me. We're going to the club. Oh, it's downstairs.
You never have to go outside.
It's hard to back out of that.
All the stores in there.
It was insane.
Where did you stay? What hotel?
We stayed at the Cosmopolitan. Okay. And then we went to like the Marquee Club there. I think it was called. And they had like a little day party there. And then we went to Aria.
Yeah, I stay at Aria or Wynn usually.
And then we went somewhere else, and the club was called like SX. But I just thought that was insane.
And SX is like indoor and outdoor. There's like a pool part and like the indoor part. I love it.
It's amazing, but I don't want to go back anytime soon.
Yeah.
Curse that place.
In March, I think.
I haven't been since I was 30.
Really?
I turned 30. I went for my dirty 30 for a week. It was
That's funny. I went like twice, like less than a month apart, and it was way too much.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's still fun. Actually, we stayed next door to Nicolas Cage. We were in the Palm, but like the Palm's residence, and he lives there. And we got
I can imagine living there.
It was dope as fuck too. It's one of the ones that have like the hot tub on the balcony that like overlooks the whole city. But anyways, we drew him a national treasure map and slid it under the door.
Oh my gosh. We did see Bow Wow in the club, and that's after the verses.
Oh, really?
So we're like,
wait, who won that?
I don't know. I think so. I'm not a Soulja Boy fan.
I didn't watch it, but my gut tells me Soulja Boy, and my heart tells me the same thing.
Because what's so crazy is when Bow Wow left the club, they started playing Soulja Boy. And I was
that sounds like they're choosing sides. that close to this is what day? How many days after verses?
This is the day of the night of the verses.
Night of.
Did they film it in Vegas?
I don't know how. Maybe it was the next day. But I'm like, wow. But they were in LA, so he's probably like,
that's choosing a side. That's.
I'm like, he's literally, as soon as he walked out the club, they started playing Shootout. I was like, oh, that's funny. But yeah, back to Atlanta. Now that I'm home. So in Airbnb news, somewhat, one of our favorite Atlanteans, Outkast / Big Boy, more specifically, has decided to open up an Airbnb for guests to rent out. And it is the old home of the Dungeon where they recorded a lot of their music. Yeah,
Dungeon fam.
Yes. And so it's decked out with like Atlanta memorabilia. Of course, it still has studio equipment inside. People can get picked up picked up by an Escalade.
Oh, really?
You get a free ride to the place. You don't get to keep the Escalade, but you get it picked up.
Right.
At this time, it's only like $25 a night. You're gonna do one night. So super cheap. I think just want to get people to have the experience.
$25 a night?
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious?
Is it not booked forever?
Oh, it's probably booked 2 years in advance now. That cheap.
But it was like, that's what they have. Of course, they'll probably up it over time. I think they'll try to get people inside of it.
Yeah.
Just to see it. And so
you look it up and see what it is now.
Yeah, it looks like
has it opened yet or not yet?
I tried,
open.
You tried to book it.
As soon as I saw the article, but then it wouldn't let me. It was like under like an Airbnb Plus or something like that.
Is that a new thing?
Yeah, and I have not looked into what the fuck that is. I was like,
next episode.
That sounds like when they're trying to
Airbnb Plus.
Like when they did the Airbnb experiences, like fuck off. You know where I'm going to go?
I've done one of those. Which did I do? Oh, in Brazil, we like hiked a mountain, and it was like an Airbnb experience. And I'm not a hiker. I don't know if you know me. I've got like really short legs, and I'm not very athletic. I don't exercise. So I'm like, okay, I'm like drinking a latte, thinking this is going to be like a simple hike. And this was like a fucking mountain straight up, and I almost died. But anyways, I've done an Airbnb experience.
God, this thunder and lightning. I don't know if that's
about to have a heart attack. You're going to hear her panting.
She's shaking. I know.
That between that and me,
I know.
Looking at her,
I hate this place. She's never going to want to come to.
I don't know if that thunder is going to pick up on our mics, but it's spooky out here.
It is. Matches are. So it wouldn't let you book it because it wasn't.
Well, they only have 3.
Yeah.
It's listed only 3 days as of right now. It was June 29th, which is past, July 1st, and July 3rd.
What? There's like 3 days available to rent.
All right,
here?
July 3rd is I don't know when we're going to air this, but it's the Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Big Boy $25. Somebody's probably about to be in that bitch watching Game 6. Like.
Big Boy was at Game 4.
Oh, and he performed.
He did Kryptonite just in the crowd.
Yeah.
You could barely hear it, but it was awesome still.
It wasn't like the sound system. Like it wasn't.
No, acoustics at any concert at State Farm, especially the rap concerts before and after and halftime, are always terrible.
Yeah. That's one thing I did like about Vegas though. In the clubs, it sounds so beautiful. Like the sound systems, because I like music a lot.
It's probably also the alcohol, but
it just sounded so crispy. I'm
everything sounds so great.
It did.
Audio's crystal clear. The visuals are blurry.
In comparison to Atlanta clubs and the audio system.
Yeah.
But speaking of
Atlanta
music,
clubs are terrible.
Airbnb is making one-time donation to Atlanta Public Schools music department to expand resources, and I think this is with the partnership with
Big Boy.
The Airbnb. Oh, that's awesome.
You would think, and then you charge a shit ton
more than $25,
right? Put the funds towards that.
That's probably just like an opening promo vibe.
Yeah, but I'm confused as to why it's only 3 days. That probably booked in like 3 seconds.
Yeah, for sure. And then what's even crazier, I mentioned this to y'all before, but I'm sure you don't remember. One of my friends.
Of course not.
One of my friends used to live in the dungeon, that same Airbnb.
Oh, yeah. You did mention that.
He was renting it out and to the owner, which was a Big Boy at the time. And so he, in his mind, was like, oh, we want to like redo it. He is a rapper too. So to him, it was like we record in the dungeon. Yeah. So initially he kind of had this idea of revamping it, making like a landmark.
Yeah.
And of course he presented this to the owner. And of course this was presented to Big Boy. Idea? And then Big Boy came and kicked the guy out and bought the home.
Oh, hell no.
Sir Lucius Leftfoot.
So I'm about to sue Big Boy, guys.
So yes, he was staying in there. He's a rapper, so it was very like
diss track time.
I know, right?
And next thing we know, it was like, Big Boy wants to buy it. And of course he wasn't gonna let him stay there. Like all of a sudden,
this whole time they didn't even own the dungeon.
This whole time he did not own it. And he was like, oh, I think whoever owned it.
How are you gonna name your family after it and you don't even own the shit?
And then out of the blue, he's like, oh, I want to buy it now. And it was like, yeah, of course you do.
Okay, but then he's renting it for a total of $75 over 3 nights. Sounds like a terrible investment. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Airbnb. Hopefully it becomes a cool staple. But shout out to my homie. Because that was really his idea.
Yeah, we need to resolve this.
At the same time, though, lawyers. I mean, it's famous because of it's Big Boy.
Yeah, but it was still his idea.
Sure. Do y'all have any like favorite Outkast songs or any like Outkast moments?
So many.
Okay, definitely for me. I guess
I'm not good with song titles.
I was gonna say Roses or Synthesizer.
Okay.
Favorite moment has to be when they did the concert 3 nights in a row in Centennial.
Oh my gosh, that was insane.
I went to all 3, but we were in the very front row, like touching the stage. There's like super VIP and then like VIP and then regular. And we had regular, but then we just paid the guy that was like at the gate like $20 to let us in. We were literally, I was like leaning against the stage like this, and it was amazing. But I went all 3. The guy I was dating at the time lived in Museum Towers right there above the Children's Museum, so it overlooked
the concert anyway.
The concert, yeah. So the first night we went, and the second night we just stood outside and watched, and the third night we just watched from the balcony. But
it was a good ass show.
So
you were too?
I went one night.
Which night? It was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? Or did it go 4 nights?
I think it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know, I'm not sure, but
and what was so crazy is that I don't think this was the night I went. I think it was. one of my good friends, shout out to April, he like called people on stage and he called her on stage.
Oh my gosh.
And she got to dance with Andre 3000.
What?
I was all the way in the back.
Funky Andre dance,
you know, like the hey y'all. They did the hey y'all.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I love Andre 3000. Like, I think that's why we've never crossed paths.
He's one of the greatest of all time.
Because you would have married him, right?
Yeah, period. Like, I would have been very aggressive.
Dude, I ran into him like 3 times
Everybody
within, like, the same year, and he had the same outfit on every single time.
Everybody sees him.
All right, let me guess. It's a loud outfit.
It was like a train conductor's
outfit.
Oh, the
overalls.
Yes, he wore those all the time.
I don't know.
They're striped. Yeah, because he wears them all the fucking time.
And I used to host like indie artist showcases at Stankonia at the studio.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. So it'd be like indie artists performing and stuff, and I would be there all the time. Our big boy would be there.
You're not there.
But Andre would never cross paths with him, and I'd be so upset.
He's like an introvert. He's not out like that.
Before they got together or kind of stopped recording, you know, like early in their...
Yeah. If I was just born a few...
Right. I was going to say, hold up. They've been...
If I was just... But I think one of my favorite moments is a concert, but my favorite song, I'm just really bad at song titles, but you know the song, it goes like, I can't sing, but damn.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the horns in that.
And I was on a pageant.
That was my ringtone for like 3 years. Was those horns?
If I would have known that, would have called you a lot more.
Right now, changing my ringtone.
I was in a pageant, and I made that my walk down the thing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's my favorite Outkast song. Is Spaghetti Delicious.
It's so good.
My little brother, when he was graduating, we had this picture of me and my other. So I'm oldest 3 brothers. And Julian, the youngest, was playing baseball for like his little league team was the A's. So we got like full body paint with the A's on there. And we have this dope picture of like
little league,
with like cute. You know, have a just a sick like you know Grady Brother outfit on. He's in his like you know his uniform afterwards.
Yeah.
And so we have this picture, and then Julian's favorite song was that UGK and Outkast were
Kryptonite.
No. That was the one that's like about to get married. Players Anthem. Players Anthem. And the lyrics, Andre's lyrics, if you look at them, very much would apply to any sort of new life event like graduating. So that was what we put for his graduation like ad.
That's cute.
Well, that sound you're giving me too much credit. That was the plan. I talked about the other brother. They were trying to do it, and then like I like got distracted and didn't do it.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Sorry, John. But yeah, I mean, fucking Outkast. I remember that concert that everyone went to. That I didn't go. Well,
you didn't go?
I was on their first concert. Then they got back together was Coachella weeks 1 and 2, and then it was was it Counterpoint Music Festival?
Yep. Oh,
so I went to that.
Counterpoint.
Yeah, so I went to that.
I missed that. Yeah.
Well, the only reason I missed this the like 4-day run at 3 or 4 day run at Centennial was I was also on a big EDM kick at the time. And
I was too in those days.
That was Tomorrow World weekend.
Oh.
So I was already committed to do that.
I went to the first Tomorrow World and then the Tomorrow World that flooded, and it was the worst.
I think it was number 2.
I think that's the one I didn't go to. I went to 1 and 3.
I went to all 3. And there, the third one was terrible. I don't know if you know about this.
I remember driving by it and just looking at mud, like because
I had to walk through that mud for like 3 hours.
It was ridiculous. I just thought that was just so poorly. Like
I'm sure everyone who rented an Airbnb.
They found people on the side of the road like days later and shit, like stranded.
Yeah, they never made it to their Airbnb.
Yeah. I just don't understand how that happened. I don't get it.
It was like in this country field that just turned to mud when it rained.
They're going back there for the Imagine Music Festival. Started out at what's the one outside
Atlanta Motor Speedway.
No, before Motor Speedway, it's been there for a few years. Before that, it was at Masquerade Music Park.
Oh yeah,
and
Masquerade.
Then they moved to Atlanta Motor Speedway, which is awesome because randomly
County, that was my hood.
Oh, that was probably a great weekend. Did you ever go?
I wasn't living there when that stuff was happening. I guess that's yeah.
Mom, I'm back.
I was grown. Yeah.
I'm fucked up. Stuff.
Oh gosh, festivals are coming back though.
Yeah. And that's actually like when I was running my Airbnb for Fiesta, I would look at the festival calendar, and then I would just jack up my prices for all those weekends. And I guess it's time to start doing that again.
It is. It's definitely time to start doing that.
Super smart. Well, speaking of your Airbnbs, you got some reviews?
Yeah. Oh man,
it's time for funny Airbnb reviews.
Well, exactly right.
They'll add in the sound effects later. Apparently, they do that.
You don't have to go.
It's always more fun when you do it.
So I didn't do that, actually, so don't get excited. But I did find this article entitled, all right, remember Robert last week? And, he's got a tactic. He has to tell him how he feels. Oh, my gosh,
Robert. Yes.
Or Roberto or
Robert
whatever.
is the host whose reviews were hilarious. His response to other people's reviews were hilarious.
Just blunt.
Honestly, I expect our listeners to have listened to last week's fucking episode.
Right. They either never listen or they better listen to every single one.
Commit. All right.
How dare you?
But all right. So I thought, I saw this headline. I thought of him when I was searching for more great reviews. I found this. Airbnb hosts shared 19 of their best tips for getting a 5-star rating. And I was like, all right, let's check out these tips. Number 6. Leave some small refreshments in the kitchen for your guest arrival. These little touches are so appreciated after a tiring or driving flight. That's not I want to read that one. Hold on. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Leave a few snacks and bottles of water out for our guests. It costs practically nothing, but makes the whole place feel homey and intentional. Oh, here's the reason I want to read this. Oh, this is literally what it says in the next sentence. Oh, and don't, all caps, ask for tips to cover the cost of said snacks.
Is that a thing people do?
I don't know.
I've never had a host ask for tips.
That's when you're giving tips, and then maybe they took that literally like, also, here's a tip. Like, you don't need to give an unnecessary tip. Like, oh, by the way, don't tell your Airbnb to fuck off with it.
But who would get a tip? Like, you tip the host?
Tip jar next to your snacks?
That's very classic.
That's small dick energy there. What is this?
All right, so that's what Jackson...
have a whole Airbnb and you're asking for tips?
No, for what?
I think these are BuzzFeed usernames, but Jackson Pierce is the one who felt it necessary. At least the snacks, guys.
Are people responding to these tips?
I don't know how to use. Oh, I don't know how to use BuzzFeed enough to tell you that information. But Jackson Pierce, though, he thinks that we need to know that, and he says at the ending, I stayed at a pricey Airbnb once and was forced to see a sign asking for tips to cover the cost of store-brand granola bars. Super tacky. Much side-eye.
Not much side-eye.
Much side-eye.
These people have so much time on their hands.
I'm going to start saying that. Much side-eye.
All right, what's the next one?
Who would ask for tips for an Airbnb? Like, what?
Yeah, that's supposed
they
to be
already charge a service fee and a cleaning fee. Yeah. Like, why do you need a tip?
That's the thing that people don't expect to translate from hotels to Airbnb.
You might tip your housekeeper at the hotel, but
busboy, that's it.
And the bellhop.
All right, here's my next, what I think would be kind of a controversial tip to how to get a 5-star review at Robert. All right, number 8. Leave sticky notes explaining how to use all the electronics and appliances.
Wait, didn't we read one where they couldn't figure out how to use like a remote or something? No, the kitchen. The review that was like, oh, they didn't explain to me how to use the kitchen,
and they got pissed.
Yeah.
All right. First of all, fuck that guest, but also, a sticky note's not the solution.
Was it you?
No.
Absolutely not.
Oh.
A sticky note's not the solution. That's going to fall off.
Yeah.
What's the tip?
Somebody did get mad at you for not doing something.
I mean, that's, my life.
It was funny, though. I can't remember it. Sorry. It's something
I've had, I feel a lot of, you get some weird complaints doing the Airbnb.
The bug?
It's the bug!
One bug.
I have a bug update. All right.
Okay.
It was the bug.
So Orkin, he calls me the day after Orkin leaves, and Orkin, yeah, and it was actually first was Orkin man, the second was Orkin lady.
Oh, okay.
And
did you like her?
I didn't get to meet her, but I did. Thought we shared a moment when I was talking to her through my Vivint, like the camera.
Phone sex.
What? What?
We had doorbell sex.
Oh,
because you can talk through the doorbell, and I'm sure all the brands do it. And then you can
like Morse code. How are you?
No, you got two-way communication.
Camera. It's 2021 now. I forget. I forget about that.
Yeah.
Why was I picturing Morse code?
That's
like ding 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 ding.
No, I first think I thought that.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
We've been all over the place this episode.
Well, that's what happens when we don't have when our guest cancels on us.
Right. Right.
But wait,
doorbell sex, Orkin lady.
Oh yeah.
Bug guy.
Sorry. I got it. Well, first of all, I was just obviously kidding. I didn't have any doorbell sex.
Sorry,
that threw me off though.
Sorry, Dr.
The possibilities threw me off. But all right, so. We got Orkin. She comes. What they tell you, like this is not. I'm not giving them shit. Like the first time I had my own exterminator, they were like, "All right, we come monthly, and if there's ever any bugs in between, call us.
Immediately.
We'll come right back." So, they came out, and then, like, the next day, I saw a bug, and I was like, hey, they're not all dead yet, And they're like, no, dummy, that's them dying right now. Right, it takes a minute. Like, you got...
They come out like, I'm dying, and then die in the middle of your phone.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'd explained that to my guest that... Because he's like, I saw them, and they're not dying. And I was like, just because they're not, like...
way out. Give them a minute.
Yeah, I was like, just because they're not, like... It's not mean they're not dying, dude. Right. You don't know how fucking bugs
work. You don't know a bug's life.
You know how strong this guy is? You know what I'm saying?
They're pretty strong.
Yeah. And so, they're like, they can, like 100, for body weight, they're like 1,000. Exactly. They're fucking strong as shit.
They've survived for eons at this point.
Yeah, and they'll survive,
anything.
If we fuck up and blow up the world, they'll survive.
There will still be bugs, yeah. Cockroaches.
So yeah, well, my guest literally said to me after things settled down, this story has a happy ending. He was like, I'm sorry, man. Like, I literally never seen a cockroach before.
Okay, get the fuck out of here.
He's from New Jersey.
We can never be friends.
First of all,
I think you should
I can only be friends with people who have seen a cockroach.
He's seen one now. Now y'all can be friends.
First of all, he's from New Jersey. That's probably like the origin of cockroaches, like in the entire world.
Not the part of Jersey he's lived in.
I've never seen a big rat though.
I mean, I don't know if I have in Atlanta.
Like a New York size rat.
See, exactly.
I would die.
Don't discriminate.
I would die.
Spiders I'm cool with. Not cool with, but like I'm not that freaked out. But like mice and rats,
I would die.
All right. Well, what if Mr. New York City, maybe, he's like, what if he said to you, I would never be friends with someone who hasn't seen a giant rat.
Yeah.
I would die.
And so in Egypt, instead of like rats and mice, there's fucking weasels. They look like ferrets.
What's the I definitely don't know the difference between a weasel and a rat or mouse. They're basically
ferrets, but like wild, not like in the pet store. It's so strange.
Didn't y'all see a coyote by the studio or something?
No, I'm still convinced it was a cat of sorts because they have backwards knees. And the thing is, I never realized until I saw it that cats have backwards knees. And then I was like, wait a minute. But yeah, they do. Have you ever thought about their
cats have backward knees?
Yes, they're backwards. Their back legs like bend this way instead of that way.
Let me look it up real quick.
Think about it. But anyways,
please
there's
put a cat
like
leg in the video
or some shit outside
please
the studio.
Put a cat leg.
And we are like in Dunwoody, basically, in Sandy Springs. Yeah.
All right.
Our cat's knees backwards. Google it. They are. Just picture a cat in your head.
You're right, Maha. I don't think they're backwards. They're like inverted.
A fancy word for backwards.
Okay.
Right. I know, but I'd never really thought about that until I saw this fucking mountain lion out here. Because they're like, maybe it's just a dog. And I was like, it had backwards knees.
I'm glad you guys are safe.
All right.
Oh, so you know who's also safe? Been safe the whole time? My fucking Airbnb guest. Nice guy. And so anyways, he's freaking out about...
He's still there?
No,
the bug guy's still there?
No. So he's there as a long-term rental. It was my first long-term rental.
Oh, I don't know if I realized that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, now I live with mom and dad.
But at least you're making money, hey.
But I'm trying to build a nest egg here, okay, guys? Yeah. And so he's there long term, and he freaks out about the bug. I told you that a couple episodes ago. And then so Orkin, so after he calls him back the next day, and he's like, "There's still bugs." He doesn't like that's a concept he's still learning. So then they come back for their follow up appointment. That was last Friday. And then I'm like, awesome. Like I texted someone, she was there, the Orkin lady. And then I thought that was that. And then he sent me a message Saturday, and I was like super busy, so I didn't respond right away. And I mean, he's a long-term guest, I think I have a little leeway.
Right.
And plus, I won't get into his sleeping habits, but he sleeps in, so I thought, whatever. And so, anyways, then all of a sudden I get messages from Airbnb while I'm, up past my bedtime watching basketball that he is canceling. And I'm like,
what?
Oh, also.
Ian, why was this not your story for today? Like, this is an offshoot of the...
There's always an offshoot about my Airbnb. So I get these messages from Airbnb, and I'm like, fuck, And the other thing about long-term rentals...
How long had he been there?
Been there almost a month. And so I thought...
How much longer are you supposed to be?
This is a 3-month booking.
Oh, wow. I don't know that I'd want to rent my house for 3 months and be like, gone.
Well, all right, here's the thing. It's really close to my office. My parents' house is close to my office. And I am new at the firm, so I only get 1 day a week remote.
Yeah.
When I hit that 1 year mark, I get 3. Way doper.
That's going to be amazing.
I know. And so, but in the meantime, right now, it's like, I'm just like, I'm grinding, working, all I do is work basically. If Shafi's not like, in between tests, that's the only time a med student has time for significant others.
Is in between
right
exams.
After an exam.
So understanding.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I was saying, I didn't mean to tuba hone. Yeah, I'm the best. And so, But so yeah, I'm like, fuck. And the other thing is, they don't normally you get all your Airbnb funds, like, the whole booking all at once, so 24 hours after check-in it gets initiated, and then it's a few days after that, depending
you get
on
the whole thing.
Yeah, you get the whole thing. Found out, as this is my first long-term booking, that it's and I also thought, like, I get 3 months, like, making a pretty good rate, but I get it all up front, I can play with that money a little bit. And so I have a lot of dreams to upgrade this Airbnb. I was like, all right, do it all now. But they only give you the first month's rent. And so now you're a landlord basically through Airbnb.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
I've called myself a landlord to my young guest. And
I mean, this is great, like, practice. I mean, you basically are a landlord.
Yeah, I mean, like, and he also, never lived in his own house before. So, like, he's in college. He's like a junior, senior, and his girlfriend's
getting the money to Airbnb for 3 months? That's expensive as hell.
Yeah,
it's probably cheaper than room and board.
Who knows?
Oh, at college?
He's in college?
I don't know.
Yeah, they're in college. And the girlfriend's like a freshman or sophomore. I think she probably just finished her freshman year. Anyways, he like when the fuse got blown out, he's like, "What do I do?" And I'm like, "Flip them all," but and he's like, "Send me photos."
Circuit breaker.
Yeah, but anyway, so all of a sudden I'm like, "No," and also like right before right before the funds are gonna clear, I'm like, "This
damn
fuck."
And it is because of
the you didn't get a month's rent. Yeah,
I got the first month. I'm like days from like getting month 2.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm like, this is not good. And then I call Airbnb to
but
get
you get those days though for the second month.
I don't want that because it's been blocked off my calendar. He booked.
Oh yeah, so that like stops you from getting so many other bookings.
Exactly, and so so that's why I'm trying to avoid that. And so first I get my side of the story to Airbnb. Like, you got to CYA, and then I call him and I was like, listen, man, like. Because the thing is, it's not true that my house has bugs in it. Like,
right, it was a bug or like.
Literally, he said.
I feel like we're gonna have to get like the ending of this story on the next episode because I feel like it's getting good.
The happy ending already happened. So he's like, but the photos he sent Airbnb, of the 9 photos of bugs, 3 of them are from my door camera.
Outside, they're outside bugs.
Yes.
Oh my god!
Which
what a piece of shit.
No. He that just shows you his like warped view of bugs. He's scared to shoot them. But that doesn't mean that they're inside my Airbnb. And they're like, a couple dead ones by the where you expect them to die after you spray insecticide on all the entry points. You know? And so anyways, I explained that to him and he like understood. And then so we talked for like 45 minutes and I'm explaining like that's I was
you and
like,
the guest or you and Airbnb?
Me and the guest.
Oh, okay.
Well, both. Back to back 45-minute calls. But
what's your happy ending?
So I I hit him up and I'm like,
our audience.
Film our live studio audience.
So all right, so I explained all that to him, and then and because the way I went into that kind of non-confrontational, I'm like, listen, man, what's your plan? Are you moving to like another house? Like you're gonna have the same problem. Like my shit is like professionally treated. And so anyways, he later that night he calls me. He's like, "Yeah, man, you're right. Like, what, I'm gonna go somewhere else see more bugs." Like, and I can't believe how. The other thing I did, I was like, "Listen, there's probably like some other shit I don't know about, like home devices." So I found out a couple things exist. They sell light bulbs that are also bug zappers. So I plugged.
See, you were going above and beyond. Fuck this.
He's a landlord now.
I'm a landlord now, and a great landlord at that. So now I said this is all. He hasn't installed it yet. He's been busy. But I said it's all arrived via Amazon. And so he can put in my front porches where he's scared of these bugs that are on the ring camera.
Exactly.
And I haven't watched it yet because I never check my security unless something bad happens. But he said there's hilarious footage of him just like him and his girlfriend like running like in and out of the house.
Is she also terrified of bugs?
Yes, they're from New Jersey. They don't have bugs there.
Is that really a thing?
Yeah.
In conclusion, when we end this episode, you have to date somebody that's going to kill the bug. Either the girl or the guy has to be the bug.
You can't both.
Well, now
both can't.
He literally, I told you guys last time. He asked me like advice on how to kill them. And so I bought him that. I bought him the light bulbs, and then I also bought him
I don't like him.
If you met him, you like him, okay?
I guess.
Well, Ian, we're gonna wrap it up. I want to hear more about this story on our next episode.
Oh shit!
Because I feel like he's gonna be a very interesting character.
Yeah, I'll tell you about the rest of the bug killing devices that you can add as well.
Yeah, we have a list of bug killing devices you can add to your home.
On the next Once Upon a BNB.
I'm your host, Annsleigh.
I get you a second this time? All right. Ian.
Yeah, like the first time.
We're so bad at this, and I'm Maha. And Janet, Miss Jackson, if you're nasty. Hopefully you didn't hear her pant through this whole episode freaking out from the thunder. But anyways.
Ian, who are you?
I thought I just said that.
He did? Okay.
Oh, man. All right.
See you next time.
Oh, we're so smooth. Bye.